A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. Courage is knowing what not to fear. As the builders say, the larger stones do not lie well without the lesser. Attention to health is life's greatest hindrance. Courage is a kind of salvation. Knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning rather than wisdom. Cunning is but the low mimic of wisdom. Death is not the worst that can happen to men. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. Any man may easily do harm, but not every man can do good to another. For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories. Better a little which is well done, than a great deal imperfectly. For good nurture and education implant good constitutions. It is a common saying, and in everybody's mouth, that life is but a sojourn. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. I have hardly ever known a mathematician who was capable of reasoning. If a man neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life. If particulars are to have meaning, there must be universals. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. It is right to give every man his due. Knowledge becomes evil if the aim be not virtuous. Honesty is for the most part less profitable than dishonesty. Human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. Knowledge is true opinion. Knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. No evil can happen to a good man, either in life or after death. Let parents bequeath to their children not riches, but the spirit of reverence. Life must be lived as play. Love is a serious mental disease. Man, a being in search of meaning. Man is a wingless animal with 2 feet and flat nails. Must not all things at the last be swallowed up in death? Necessity, the mother of invention. No law or ordinance is mightier than understanding. No one is a friend to his friend who does not love in return. Not to help justice in her need would be an impiety. Nothing in the affairs of men is worthy of great anxiety. One man cannot practice many arts with success. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. Philosophy begins in wonder. Philosophy is the highest music. Poetry is nearer to vital truth than history. Rhetoric is the art of ruling the minds of men. Science is nothing but perception. States are as the men, they grow out of human characters. The good is the beautiful. The beginning is the most important part of the work. The most important part of education is proper training in the nursery. There is no such thing as a lover's oath. The blame is his who chooses, God is blameless. The empty vessel makes the loudest sound. The excessive increase of anything causes a reaction in the opposite direction. The God's service is tolerable, man's intolerable. Poets utter great and wise things which they do not themselves understand. The greatest wealth is, to live content with little. The highest reach of injustice is to be deemed just when you are not. The measure of a man is what he does with power. The wisest have the most authority. There is no harm in repeating a good thing. There must always remain something that is antagonistic to good. They certainly give very strange names to diseases. Thinking, the talking of the soul with itself. Wealth is well known to be a great comforter. To be sure I must, and therefore I may assume that your silence gives consent. Truth is the beginning of every good to the gods, and of every good to man. Tyranny naturally arises out of democracy. Virtue is relative to the actions and ages of each of us in all that we do. We are twice armed if we fight with faith. We do not learn, and what we call learning is only a process of recollection. When men speak ill of thee, live so as nobody may believe them. Wisdom alone is the science of other sciences. Wonder is the feeling of the philosopher, and philosophy begins in wonder.